Hi, everybody. I'm WJER's Denny Trimmer, welcoming you to this Big Z Sports presentation of two-a-days. We're at Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium, getting you all set to learn about the upcoming season for your new Philadelphia Quakers. I'm joined by no greater Quaker authority, and WJER listeners, you remember him so well, the long-time voice of the play-by-play side of things for the Quakers, Mr. Bill Morgan. Bill, it is so glad to have you here, and I'm excited to say, for those that didn't know, you're back in the booth with us this year.
Hey, I am very excited, Denny, to be with you and I. For people who listen to us for many years on the radio, we're going to kind of flip-flop roles. You'll be doing the play-by-play, and I'll be doing the color analysis, and probably trying to steal stats from Ricky Neff.
Well, there's no doubt that you will be stealing stats from somebody. If you've ever seen the man's handwriting, you know right where I'm going with this. Bill, with your experience calling these games, and especially with this program, maybe look back to a favorite play, game, something that really, when you think back about your years of broadcasting Quaker games, strikes a chord with you.
DT, I think without question, and I may say the correct calendar year, I may be a bit off. I think it was 2006. Both New Philadelphia and Cambridge were undefeated and ranked in the top 10 in the state, that time at Division III, and they played in what was a mud bath down in Guernsey County, and New Philadelphia's Arthur Zerker would come on at the final play of the game and kick a 49-yard field goal that just fell over the crossbar, and the Quakers would sneak away with a huge win.
Unbelievable. This trip down memory lane brought to you by Gilland Body Shop. Bill, so glad you're back with us in the booth. We're going to talk with Mike Johnson. Do you think that's a good idea?
Talking with the head coach instead of some guy who hasn't done Quaker games in 4 years is a stroke of brilliance.
Mike Johnson up next, courtesy of Gilland. Coach Mike Johnson joins us, courtesy of the Gilland Body Shop. Coach, fourth season already. Is the reality of this head job living up to the expectations you might have had as a young guy, saying, boy, I want to come back and be the head football coach?
Well, it's been wild to tell you the truth, Denny. This is year 4. It just seems like we just keep coming to work. Like, I mean, as far as being a football coach, it seems like every day what you do is you get up, you go to school, you come to work, you come to football, you come play, and you get kids ready to go out on Friday night. So, I mean, as far as that goes, it really hasn't changed much. The things that have changed are there's much more administrative stuff that you just deal with, and that falls on my plate instead of all the assistants. So that's been the biggest change, but it's been excellent. The kids have been great, and we have, as far as the staff goes, our guys have been phenomenal.
How have you grown most in your what is now the fourth season as a head coach?
Well, really, I think one of the things that we've tried to do is year 1, we kind of got into our defense a little bit and restructured our defense. And every year there's a little tweak to it, something else to do. Offensively, we've made slight changes as we've gone just to try to become more efficient. And I think it's just trying to evaluate what we do well, what we don't do well, and focus on the good stuff, build on the good stuff. And if it's not that good, let's get rid of it. Let's become better and more efficient and better packages and better plays.
This is Big Z Sports presenting two-a-days. We're at Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium with fourth-year head coach Mike Johnson. Coach, maybe just a thumbnail sketch from 30,000 feet looking down. What about this year's expectation? Talk about the club.
Well, I mean, the expectations, we have goals every year. They're pretty simple goals. The first one's to get a 3.0 in the classroom. That actually might be the hardest one. But our kids, they do great, and that's an expectation. We want to see them get better every day, getting better. We got to have that constant improvement. And then the last of our goals is to play as hard as you can. And we then from there you expand on all of that stuff. But as far as this team goes, we're really excited about them. We have 12 returning lettermen, 6 offensive returning starters, 7 defensive starters returning. So the expectations are high. The expectations are we're going to start and we're going to perform from really starting this Saturday with our first scrimmage. We'll get a better feel for who we are,
Right.
but we're gonna continue to build from there. And I really like our guys that are coming back. We have our defensive back half's back. That's wonderful. Our outside linebackers are back. That's great. well, who are the guys in front of them? So we're still working for that, but the expectations are the guys we throw in are going to come out, they're going to perform, and they're going to be great.
And let's highlight a couple of these kids, maybe looking at that defensive side of the football. I know I really love your linebacking core, the way they flew around a year ago. They've got that, when I think about guys like Gilland and
Yes.
Miles Tyson, these are guys that have that unquantifiable nose for the football.
Without a doubt, and we are so excited to have those guys back because those outside linebackers do so much for us, and they are going to hawk the football. They're going to come off the edge. They're going to get into pass coverage. They've had a phenomenal summer, so we are so excited to see what they do and those other guys around it. But the other returners coming back, Pete DiDonato and Carter Watson are our corners. They're coming back, and they have a year under their belt. At the safety positions, you have Carson Long, who had a wonderful year last year.
He's a great athlete.
Oh my gosh, he plays with the way he plays. His pad level's so low, it sticks out on film, and we love it. And then you got safeties, Keaton Fossil, Aiden Matthews, who played last year, coming back as well, and then Boston Crowell up front. So we have a lot of good returners coming back who we're super excited to see what they can do as we keep moving forward.
Well, and you mentioned Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Let's flip to the other side of the football. He's going to anchor that offensive line.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. He really, as the year went on, he became so good and consistent that it was a no-brainer. You got to go behind him. And we were very fortunate last year. So this year, offensive line is going to look a little different because we got to replace Garrett Dillon Ryan, a 3-year starter, which really hurts Hudson Osborne, who was unbelievable at center. But you have Brody Lindsay returning. He's moving to the center spot. Boston's going to be our left tackle. And then we got a couple other guys fighting for spots up front. Hawk Walkley's a big kid who has made great strides, so we're so excited to see what he can do. And then we got a couple of juniors. Jackson Corn's probably going to jump over on the offensive line a little bit. He also played on defense for us last year, so we're really excited about those guys.
I was talking with Coach Dennison last week, and we were talking about his success here at New Philadelphia, and I said, Matt, you might not have been as successful had you not spent a decade with just 3 starting quarterbacks. When you look back at Beansy and Biddy and Barron, you've been afforded the same luxury now. We're in year 3 of Keaton Fossil, and he was phenomenal last year.
He really was. He ran for over 700 yards, threw for 1,200. I think he added up. He was over a 2,000-yard offensive player, which is huge, and we needed that from him. And his summer's been excellent as we've worked timing, we've worked release. He's been put in so much time that he's grown so much, and we're really excited to see what he can do offensively, spinning the football, throwing it a little bit more.
Anybody else we need to be on the lookout for offensively? We got some outside weapons back as well.
Yeah, our top 2 receivers were Carson Long and Pete DiDonato, so those guys are coming back, and they were solid last year. We expect more out of them this year. C.J. Carlisle got a little bit of time last year at wideout, so we expect big things out of him, and Carter Watson on the offensive side of the ball. So those guys will all be big. That leaves one position, which I think you're about to ask about.
Well, and you've got it. You hit it right on the head. You lost a 1,000-yard rusher, and he was a bell cow. And Etney Richardson, a guy that you just turn in hand, he could get you the tough yards inside, and next thing you know, he's in the secondary.
Oh my gosh!
How do you replace?
Well, he was unbelievable. There was a game. I think it was the Ashland game. We were out here, and we're up 2 or 3 scores. I think 3 scores. It's near the end of the game. We hand him the ball, and it looks like he's tackled in the backfield. Next thing you know, he squirts out and he's 78-yard touchdown, and that's hard to replace. So I think we're gonna get a little committee there, but the guy who's really gonna carry that rock is gonna be Miles Tyson.
Miles Tyson.
He's the guy who's stepped up in camp and has been excellent, and now we're looking.
And he's been good through the younger years carrying.
Oh, without a doubt, he's been great coming up. Peyton Miller is also going to be a junior who's had a very nice camp, and then there's a couple of young guys, Caleb Crothers and Colson Fox, who are all good running backs. So we have good running backs. There's no Etney, but we'll see what we got. And then they don't need to be Etney. They need to be themselves.
They need to be themselves. We're going to wrap things up here with Coach Johnson. You're listening to Two-A-Days here on Big Z Sports. I'm Denny Trimmer from WJER Sports. We'll have the games for you all season long. Coach, if you're going to look back at the end of the season and say, yeah, success, what's it going to mean?
Well, it's really going to look at the growth and development. I mean, we've been talking about accountability all preseason, all season, and that's a big part of it. And if we were a little bit more accountable throughout the course of the last couple of years, there's probably a couple other games that could have changed. Those outcomes could have changed, and that's part of the growth that we talk about. So as we look at these guys, what we're searching for is we're searching for a team that comes out, plays harder than anybody, who plays more fundamental, who's going to be disciplined, going to hold each other accountable, and going to have success. And that's what we want to see. And the wins will take care of themselves. I feel very confident with this club, but we're just excited to get it going.
Coach, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks for joining us today. I hear the whistles. You got to get back to work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Mike Johnson, courtesy of Gilland Body Shop. Wheels back in. Bill Morgan for more analysis. Bill, we just heard from Coach, a lot of hot takes on his part, a lot of expectations, as they would be this time of year. What'd you take away?
Well, he mentioned, as you heard, got a lot of starters returning, many of whom who will play on both sides of the football. But I guess, DT, the one thing that kind of draws me in this year is where will the Mike Johnson program go? Not even the seniors on this team ever played for Coach Matt Dennison, who did tremendous things on this field behind us. This is all Coach Johnson, who, of course, was a longtime assistant under Coach Dennison.
He's a pretty good player here as well.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad, for sure, when he was wearing the black and red and not coaching the black and red. But the question becomes, how can Mike Johnson elevate this program? And nothing wrong with 500 and getting into the playoffs, but let's be realistic with the OHSAA expansion. Everybody and their grandma gets in the playoffs now. Can this program this year play a little bit above 500 in the 10-game regular season and then not only get in the postseason, DT, but win a game or two?
Well, if you want to find out answers to Bill's pointed questions, stick with us all season long. WJER with the best play-by-play coverage on air, online, on the stream. We're everywhere, and we're talking red and black. For Bill Morgan, for cameraman, producer, and general encourager Adam Soeski, I'm WJER's Denny Trimmer. This has been a presentation of Big Z Sports.